Hello and welcome to class number 13 of the quick revision series for UPSC Prelims 2024. I hope you have watched all the earlier classes as well. In case you have missed out on any class, I am giving the link of the entire playlist in the description. Go and watch out if you have missed any of the earlier 12 classes. In order to get the PDF of all these lectures, you can join the Telegram channel. The link again is in the description of the video, where you will get updates and also PDF of all these lectures. Today again, we are continuing with environment just like the last class. A lot of news stories about environment. Let's begin. News number 132, we saw the launch of National Carbon Registry. Now what exactly is this? Who has launched this and what purpose? So this is an online portal launched by the UNDP. That is United Nations Development Program. It's actually a software. The idea is to enable the countries to manage their national data and processes for trading carbon credits. Now, what exactly do you mean by this? So basically, under the Kyoto Protocol, countries that are developed, they have been given a target that this is the amount of carbon emission that you can have. So let's say if a country is given 100 tons quota, they have only used 90 tons of it. They can then trade the remaining 10 ton, give it to and then sell it to some other country. How to do that? For that, a proper mechanism is being set up here called the National Carbon Registry, where you can manage your national data real time and you can process trading of the carbon credits as well. It is based on the open source code, allowing the countries to adapt as per their own requirement. This ensures that there are timelines that are met and it works in accordance to the rules that have been made by the World Bank, UNFCCC, UNDP, etc. Now the UNDP is an organization that you keep on hearing about time and time again. As the name suggests, this works for development works around the entire world, mainly in the developing nations. This is the premier agency playing the major role of trying to help the countries achieve the sustainable development goals, the 17 goals that have to be achieved by 2030. They try to help the nations around the world in fighting against climate change, disaster management, any help that they require. They try to assist them as much as possible. On a similar topic, India also started its own domestic carbon credit trading scheme. Now, just like under the Kyoto Protocol, countries are given different targets that this is the amount of carbon emissions that you can have. Countries also have their own carbon emission. For example, let's say India, in order to achieve our goal of achieving net zero by 2070, India, for example, takes a decision that they give a quota to every industry. They will tell the factory that this is the amount of quota, this is the pollution that you can have, not more than that. But if that organization, that factory wants to emit more pollution because they're increasing their manufacturing, now what can they do? They can buy the quota of some other company. Some other company that might not have utilized it, they can then buy it. How will that happen? Through this carbon credit trading scheme. So again, it is an idea to ensure that the overall carbon production remains the same in the country. And it basically encourages the companies, if you preserve, if you safeguard your carbon credits, if the government has allowed me 100 tons of pollution, I only had 75 tons. I saved 25 tons. I can earn money in exchange of that. I can sell it to the other companies and they will give me money. That is the idea of carbon credit trading scheme. This again is done by the country so that we can achieve our target in terms of climate change, in terms of renewable energy. India, as you know, has set an ambitious target of achieving net zero by 2070. Also, we want to increase our renewable energy production. For all of that to happen, such targets have to be met by individual companies. This scheme is announced under Energy Conservation Act of 2001. Also, National Steering Committee, also called as Indian Carbon Market Governing Board. This is the one that will look into implementation of this scheme. It is headed by Ministry of Power and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change Secretaries. They will look into working of this carbon credit trading scheme across the country. There will also be a role of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. They will be the one who will make sure that carbon emission reductions targets are being met or not. They will try and see if the companies are well within the range of the amount of pollution that they are allowed to have in the environment. We also have a role of Central Electricity Regulation Commission here that will regulate all the trading activities within this particular market. They will make sure that there is complete transparency while trading of these carbon credits in this platform. Now, carbon markets, as you can see, they are a tool for exchanging, for putting a price on the carbon emissions. Again, it happens in other countries as well. The idea is simple: to ensure that the overall emissions of the country remain the same. Within that, you can buy, you can sell your right to pollute more. But if you have to have the right, or if you want to buy the right to pollute more, then you have to spend the money for that. And countries who are not polluting as much as they can get benefits out of it because they can sell all their credits. These carbon allowances are determined by governments as per their own emission reduction target. Whatever the government decides that this is how much we can manage, based on that they will divide these carbon credits. Now, another important news was the COP28 was held in Dubai. Whenever we have these COPs of UNFCCC, we have a lot of important takeaways from this. This time was no different. In Dubai's COP of UNFCCC, COP number 28, a lot of important outcomes and initiatives came out. So we'll be going and reading them one by one, just a short summary of them. You have to see who introduced these initiatives, what are they all about, what do they aim to achieve. First initiative, starting of Altera Fund. This was launched by the UAE. Altera Fund is launched by UAE with a huge initial investment of $30 billion. It's a climate fund. The aim is to attract $250 billion of investment by 2030. This term is a Latin term that is used in different contexts such as alteration, transformation, variation. This is when it is used. Altera, do remember this. Again, it's a fund launched to fight against climate change, launched by the UAE. Second major takeaway from COP28 was Global Green Credit Initiative. This was launched by India. Very similar to the carbon credit trading system that we had. In this, green credits will be assigned to specific environmental activities and they will be treated as tradable commodities. So for example, let's assume that you go and plant 100 trees. When you prove that yes, you have planted 100 trees, you will be given a kind of a certificate by the government that yes, we certify 100 trees have been planted by you. You can then sell that certificate to a company that is polluting the environment. In the last class, remember we read about how in civil aviation, the airlines, the companies will be offsetting their emissions. Offsetting the emission means whatever they have polluted, they will try to plant trees accordingly so that the net result is zero. So if I planted 100 trees, I got the certificate. I can sell this certificate to this company in exchange for money so that the company can prove to the government that see, we have achieved net zero. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. That is the basic idea behind Green Credit Initiative. This is launched by India. As per this initiative, you should be able to earn these certificates for environmental activities like tree plantation, water conservation, sustainable agriculture, so on and so forth. Main priorities will be water conservation and afforestation, against which you can win these green credits. Next important initiative, which was launched by African leaders, called the Green Industrialization Initiative. Nothing much to remember here. It is to accelerate green industries and businesses across entire Africa. As you know, there is a lot of investment flowing into Africa. Countries such as India, China, Japan, US, France, all of them have been investing significant amount of money in Africa. Now they are launching an initiative to move towards setting up of green industries. Next in the initiative again of COP28 was Global Drought Report that was published or discussed in this year's COP28. It's a report published by UN Convention to Combat Desertification. As you know, more and more area around the entire world is turning into deserts. When an area turns into deserts means it is not appropriate for agriculture, it's not appropriate for sustainable life as well. That is why there have been efforts around the world led by the UN to control and curtail this problem of desertification. This effort is spearheaded by UN Convention to Combat Desertification. They released a report saying that 1.84 billion people were drought struck, out of which 4.7% exposed to severe extreme drought. World Bank says 85% people affected by droughts live in low or middle income countries. 23 countries including India had declared drought emergencies during 2022-23 period. Do remember, 2023 has broken all records of increasing temperature all around the world. So we are nowhere near curtailing the Earth's temperature to be below 2 degrees Celsius. It will overshoot 2 degrees Celsius very, very comfortably. Another important initiative at COP28 was Lead IT 2.0. It stands for Leadership Group for Industry Transition. This was launched by India and Sweden. Do you remember this? So basically it's a kind of a collaboration under which the countries would be open to exchanging information and knowledge about low carbon technologies. There are a lot of industries, mainly in the field of manufacturing, construction, that are very energy intensive, that have a lot of emission. Those industries specifically have to move towards low emission. So this is the initiative. Industries such as iron, steel, cement, aluminium, they will be focusing on knowledge sharing with each other and helping each other's industries to adopt better practices to reduce their emission. This initiative, in fact, has been launched since 2019. It was relaunched again, initiated at the COP28, so that other countries could also participate. India and Sweden have already been doing this. There are 3 core areas which are the focus of this initiative. First, inclusive and just industry transition. Second, low carbon technology development and transfer. And third, emerging economy technology transfer. To remember, second phase has been launched. It is India and Sweden that have launched this at the COP28. COP28 also saw an initiative by European Union, US and UAE. This is called Global Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge. So a pledge was taken by 118 countries. The pledge was to increase their renewable energy production significantly. So the pledge was to triple the world's green energy capacity to 11,000 gigawatts by end of 2030. Reduce the dependence on fossil fuel. Whenever I read this, this is so ironical. Which are the countries that are taking a pledge to reduce dependence on fossil fuel? UAE, a country whose entire economy, part of it, is dependent on export of oil and gas. US, that is one of the largest exporters of oil now. These are the countries taking a pledge to reduce reliance on fossil fuel. But again, we are living in a hypocritical world. As per the pledge, the countries promise to double their global average annual rate of energy efficiency, improve from 2% to about 4% every year until 2030. This is not a legally binding pledge. It's more of showing it to the world that see, we are doing something about it. India and China have remained away from this. See, whenever there is any pledge that says that the countries must cut down their use of coal or countries must reduce the use of coal, you will see India, China usually stay away from that. Because a large part of our economies, both India and China, is still being run by coal, it's powered by coal, so we usually stay away from that, and that has been the case here as well. And another thing that happened in COP28, Climate Club led by Germany and Chile, they again started an initiative. The idea was to ensure that there is better cooperation for decarbonization of the industrial sector. So again, there are about 36 nations that came together Europe, and African nations that came together for sharing of knowledge to allow their industries to reduce their carbon emission. India is not a part of it. This is called the Climate Club, led mainly by Germany and Chile. It also has countries such as Kenya, Switzerland, European Union members, and others. Another important initiative still, we are at COP28, Oil and Gas Decarbonization Charter. What is this? The president of the COP, that is the UAE minister, he said that UAE and Saudi Arabia together are launching oil and gas decarbonization charter, meaning that they are committing to reducing the emissions that take place because of drilling of oil and extracting of gas. So the idea is that they will try and reduce carbon emissions that take place because of their oil and gas industry. Again, hypocritical at one end. If they are able to achieve it, great, I will be very happy. But very hypocritical when these kind of statements come in from those countries whose entire economy is based on export of oil and gas, etc. Another thing that happened in COP28 was Global Decarbonization Accelerator. It was introduced in the World Climate Action Summit. Again, it is a kind of an initiative by the countries around the world to address decarbonization. Not that important, you can skip this, that is not very relevant. These were the initiatives that were in the news for COP28 that was held in UAE. Moving on, there is a national campaign launched for updation of People's Biodiversity Register. What exactly do you mean by Biodiversity Register? So as the name suggests, to keep a track of biodiversity across the country and to take the help of the common people in doing that, allowing the common people also to maintain records, to update the records so that we have a comprehensive data about the existing biodiversity in India. It includes preservation of land races, of folk varieties, animals, domesticated stocks, etc. All of them will be a part of this biodiversity register. Biodiversity maintenance has been a major initiative by the government. We have something called the Biodiversity Management Committees that work under Biodiversity Act. It talks about promoting conservation, sustainable use of biological diversity in the entire country. These committees will be responsible for preparing the People's Biodiversity Register as well. The significance is, again, it will allow the local communities to share the benefit of genetic resources that they have. So let me give a simple idea. Let's assume that in a tribal area they have a specific plant, and that community has been using that plant to treat a specific disease for a very, very long time. But no one else knows about this plant in other parts of the country because that knowledge has never been shared. It's not a part of registered science. So when these kind of data are a part of biodiversity register, others can also learn about that, others can also learn from that knowledge. So genetic resources, etc., traditional knowledge can be shared with this. Also, it will allow fair and equitable benefit sharing across the entire country. And when you take help of the people on the ground that have been living in their communities, in their societies for many decades, allowing them to share their knowledge will go a long, long way in preserving those cultures as well in the long run. The BMC or Biodiversity Management Committees, as I said, are the ones that are responsible for creating and maintaining these registries. The composition of this is a chairperson and about 6 members nominated by the local body, 33% of which should be women and 18% at least should be from scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. That is how biodiversity management committees are formed. Another important news was India added a lot of animal and plant species in their database of 2022. Now, as I said earlier as well, in these kind of news stories, remembering the exact number is not important for you. Just remember the fact that India updates number of plant and animal species that we have in the country There are records maintained by Zoological Survey of India and Botanical Survey of India. They maintain records of how many new animal species or plant species that we have. You don't have to remember the numbers as such. Just remember some important pointers. For example, which state has found the most new species, or which state has found some unique species. That is more important for you. So in 2022, India added 664 animal species. You don't have to remember that. Don't worry. How many invertebrates were added, how many amphibians were added, that is not something you'll be able to remember, and you can skip that for prelims. Don't worry. Focus on this part. Kerala recorded the highest number of discoveries, followed by Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Other major contributors were Andaman Nicobar Islands, West Bengal, etc. So do remember this. New mammal species such as Miniopterus felici, a long-fingered bat, and bamboo-dwelling bat, all of these are also found in Meghalaya. Again, you can skip this part also, because anyways, even if I ask you to remember, it will be very difficult for you to remember this. So don't focus on this. Focus on the fact that which states were the ones that contributed the most new animal species. That was Kerala, then Karnataka, and then Tamil Nadu. Then there were other important species as well that were found in different parts in Andaman and other areas such as Arunachal Pradesh, etc., wherever we do have significant biodiversity. What about, these were about animals. What about the plants? India added 339 new plant species in this database. Most of them were seed plants and fungi, lichens, algae, etc. Again, you don't have to remember these numbers. These are not important for the UPSC exam. Do remember where most of the discoveries were. So most discoveries were in the Western Himalayas and in the Western Ghats, where most of the discoveries were made. Again, Kerala stood at the top with the highest number of plant discoveries as well. Most of the plants were also found in Uttarakhand, in southern Western Ghats, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu as well. Again, just focus on these and don't focus on exact numbers. Apart from that, new orchid species that were earlier only found in China and Myanmar, they were also found for the first time in Nagaland as well. The last news for this particular class is Global Declaration on River Dolphins. This news says 9, but later on there were 11 countries. So 11 countries that do still have a significant population of dolphins, including India, came together to sign a pact to share energy, or to share their synergies and knowledge about how to preserve dolphins going forward. The population of river dolphins has been dwindling very, very quickly across the entire world, and that is why 11 Asian and South American nations have come together to save the world's 6 surviving species of river dolphins. So there are only 6 river dolphin species that survive right now. All of them have gone extinct. These 11 countries include Bangladesh, Bolivia, Brazil, Cambodia, Colombia, Ecuador, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Peru, Venezuela, and even Indonesia. These are the ones that have come together. The reason is, since 1980s, river dolphin population around the world has declined by 73%. So it is a global matter of concern. The idea is to have network of protected areas, improve the river dolphin site management, expand research, engage with the local community and indigenous people, help them understand this problem, raise awareness about dolphins, how to increase their population, take help of the experts as well going forward. As I said, there are 6 species of dolphins, river dolphins rather, that remain now. Amazon, Ganges, Indus, Irrawaddy, Tukosi, and Yangtze. These are the 6 that remain. Chinese river dolphin was deemed probably extinct in 2007. So do remember, out of this, the Yangtze finless are the ones that are recognized as critically endangered, while the other ones are labeled as endangered. India has also taken many steps to preserve or to protect dolphins. For example, India regards Gangetic river dolphin as a national aquatic animal. This is something UPSC has also asked in the prelims exam once. We have established Vikramshila Ganges Dolphin Sanctuary, that is in Bihar. It covers a 60-kilometer stretch of the Ganges River. Dolphins is also a part of Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Means the Gangetic River dolphins specifically, they are in Schedule 1, so given the highest level of protection. Other dolphins are in Schedule 2 of this act. We also have the National Mission for Clean Ganga that observes the River Dolphin Day on the 5th of October, again to raise awareness. River dolphin is one of the 22 critically endangered species and are given funds especially for their preservation. Dolphin hunting has been made illegal in India. Again, it's a part of Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. This is what India has been doing to preserve the population of dolphins in the long run. This brings to the end of this class. We still have many more environment related topics remaining. Do join me for the next one. Become part of our Telegram group. If you have not done so far, do hit the subscribe button as well to get all the updates about new uploads. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Jai Hind.